My goodness, it's late. I didn't want to. I didn't really want to go live tonight, but I've been working today, and I've just seen I've just seen some of the most ridiculous stuff today that that I think I've seen in a long time. I'm thinking like probably back to 2019, like some of the idiotic and the foolish stuff that I've seen today. But I'm try not to rant. Try not to rant, but I've seen some stupid stuff today. So anyway, last night or Saturday night, if you're in the Eastern time zone, because I'm in the Central. Saturday night, I'm gonna tell you some things that were going through my mind before that game. Up until that particular week, well, up until the game, I had seen a lot of people talking about, well, when you look at the teams that are ranked above Miami and all that stuff like that, all of them have played a game and they have not looked their best, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, I said, will Georgia Tech be the game that we don't look our best? Like, well, is this gonna be the game? It's a trap game. We're looking ahead to we got North Carolina the following week. So I'm sitting and I'm thinking, I said, man, we 10-3 against Georgia Tech, man, over the last 13 years, man. I can't picture us losing this game. But that game has to happen. A game where we just don't look the way that we need to look. It has to happen. Unfortunately, Georgia Tech was the game. So I'm gonna tell you what threw me off. The beginning of the game. Before the game kicks off, the announcer says Tyler Van Dyke has been working on things to improve his leadership. He reads a book, the same book, before every game. So the first thing that went through my mind when I heard this, I said, wait a minute now, man. I didn't hear this before Miami of Ohio. I didn't hear this before Texas A&M. I didn't hear this before Bethune. I didn't hear this before Temple. So I'm saying this is one of them situations where they say the quarterback has made 200 some odd pass attempts without interception. The field goal kicker has made 30 some odd extra points without a miss. And I said, man, please don't let this happen. First quarter comes and go. No score. I said, man, it's about to be that type of night. Let me just get prepared. Let me prepare myself. It's gonna be that type of night. Kudos to the defense. They played great. They played great up until the very last play of the game. But they played great. It was at one point in time, I think the graphic was a 480 total yards of offense for us to about 120, 140 for them. And I'm like, we just got to hold on. Just got to hold on. So, the fumble. Or the non-fumble, right? The non-fumble. And I've been riding all day, so I've been thinking about this. And I said, if they would have ruled it that he was down on the field, then I think we would have got the call. The problem was they ruled it a fumble. So when they look in the replay booth, what they're trying to figure out is, can we see if the ball moved or if the ball started to move? And as I'm looking at the image, I see people slowing it down and all that, Dunn's elbows on the ground. But the problem is, we got on them black jerseys. He got on them black arm sleeves. And I said, maybe if we had on some white jerseys, white arm sleeves, they could have distinguished that the ball didn't move. Because all it takes is any type of movement of the ball, and that's, oh, the ball is starting to come loose. You can't decipher that. Unfortunately, you can't decipher it. I couldn't decipher it. I mean, you can In a situation like that, the referee is not supposed to go into the booth and say, okay, well, it looks like, I'm assuming that the ball didn't come loose. I'm going to assume that the ball only came free when he ripped it out. You can't do that. You're supposed to take that out of it. If you cannot see to make it out, you have to stay with the call on the field. Unfortunately. So that's why I'm like, if they would have called it a fumble called it, he was down on the field, the game would have ended, you know. No foul. But it was ruled a fumble. And so this is where I've been getting agitated, because I've been looking at stuff all day. I've been listening to people. And the whole thing is, don't leave the game in the hands of the referee. And I'm thinking, like, the game was never left in the hands of the referee. People went back to talking about what Jimmy Johnson said in the 80s. This ain't this and that ain't that. In the words of Jesus. This ain't this and that ain't that. We had 2 opportunities to finish this game after that blunder. The first opportunity was something that, shout out to Coach Hayes, has talked about for 4 weeks. And that is, we are not sealing the edge. So when I saw Haynes King roll out to the right, the first thing that came through my mind was 2012, Stephen Morris to Philip Dorsett, NC State. Nearly identical looking plays. Both of them walk-off touchdowns. So when I see Haynes King roll out, and I'm thinking about that play, but I'm thinking at the same time also, like, bro, ain't nobody open down there. Who is he throwing the ball to? The camera goes down there. This man is wide open. It's not a cane within 3 yards of him. So at this point, I'm like, well, he got to drop it. It's too big of a moment. He not prepared for this. He catches the ball and goes into the end zone. I'm watching the game. My wife is sitting there ironing clothes, and I say, babe, we just lost. I ain't got mad just yet, because I'm trying to realize, like, it got to be a holding call. It got to be something. He pushed off. Something happened. There's no way that they got this play off and there's not a penalty on them. So I tell my wife that, and she say, don't y'all always lose? I said, bro, we just lost. The game was over. We just lost. I said, ain't no way. We just got Jacksonville State. Like what they did to Florida State. There ain't no way that just happened. That was the end of the game. And so what's been making me upset, bro, is now someone has put a collage together. We haven't taken a knee all season. And I said, these jokers are comparing apples to a doggone ribeye. You comparing apples to a ribeye. Bro, why would we kneel the ball? We have been up. We have beaten our opponents, the past 4 opponents, by the average of 15 points. What the heck would why would we be kneeling the ball? When were we in a situation that it was a 1-possession game that deep? And another thing, they had no timeouts. So why would you continue to call plays? But people have belabored that point to the end of it. But the other thing that's making me mad is I saw this guy. He was trying to put some logic to this, right? And don't get me wrong, I love having a discussion and we using logic. We taking opinions out of it. We dealing with the facts. But the thing about sports, especially when you talk about individual people, it's about what their accomplishments are, right? It's like, I think, it's like Nick Saban. Nick Saban, the winningest head coach, like, well, he has the winningest active head coach, right? You talk about that. Nick Saban won this. Nick Saban won it. Nick Saban won this. Oh, they beat Saban. There's literally a like the image on the screen. Nick Saban is this against his opponents. It's not Alabama. Is this against Nick Saban assistant or assistant led teams? No, it's Nick Saban. This is his record versus his former assistants. That's what they do in sports. So instead of people just being like, yeah, man, Mario messed this up, right? We should have need. No, the Avengers, when it come out now, well, man, Tyler threw 3 interceptions. Referees calling phantom holding calls. Cam did this, and I'm like, bro, what the heck are you talking about? Nobody does that. It's what it is. That's what it is. You either win or you lose. Simple as that. Makes me think about 2 or 3 weeks ago. This dude put something on Twitter. He was like, Lane Kiffin the most overrated coach. When has he won a big game? When has he won a big game? He's the most overrated. When you ask that question, that means we're not putting any logic into it. We're not putting in the teams that he had, the access to resource that he had. No, we're just talking about his accomplishment. So I say, well, he beat Oregon in 2011 when they were the number 2 team in the country. And due to the Reggie Bush, Pete Carroll saga, he was not able to compete for a Pac-12 title. Right? And so he comes back and tells me, well, that was so long ago. I'm like, bro, that ain't what you asked. You asked when. You didn't give me a time frame. So people love to move the goalpost. And so as I'm just sitting up here watching some of this stuff that the people are saying, and it just caught me off guard because I saw someone say today, man, well, man, I'm a Mario fan. What do you mean you're a Mario fan? What does that mean to be a fan of a coach? What does that mean? I've never been a fan of any coach that we had. I'm a fan of the Miami Hurricanes. I don't care what any of these coaches do after they leave the University of Miami. All I care about is you win more games here than you lose, and we get a championship, and we beat Florida State in Florida when we play Florida and beat Notre Dame. That's what I care about. I don't care about being a fan, because being a fan of the coach will have you doing some of this idiotic stuff that I see people doing. You comparing apples to a ribeye. Because all I heard when he got hired, Mario won a Pac-12 title. Mario won the Rose Bowl. Mario went to Columbus and beat Ohio State. That's what I heard. But now, but what about Tyler? What about the offense? What about Shannon? No. I even saw somebody say something like, again, comparing apples to ribeye. I even saw somebody say some crap like, well, y'all said y'all wanted Mario to be hands off and let his coordinators do the coaching. And I'm sitting up here thinking to myself, like, bro, wait a minute. So are you saying Mario has given Shannon Dawson full autonomy to go for it on 4th down in negative territory? He's giving him autonomy to go for 2 over a field goal. He's giving the special teams coach autonomy to say, look, we're going to go onside kick or we're going to run fake punt. He didn't. He doesn't. And then you got the people pulling up, well, remember back in 2018, he did the same thing in 2018. Also, it's a history of this. But I don't want to delve on that I don't want to dwell on that too long. But those are just some of the things that just irked me today, man. Just really pissed me off today. So we on to North Carolina. Shout out to Hosen. Hosen brought this to my attention a couple years ago. And he talked about how when Butch Davis took over the North Carolina program, it was a change almost in mindset for that particular program. I don't look at North Carolina right now as just being a basketball program. I look at North Carolina as being a football and a basketball program because they have a good football program. They've had some very good football teams in recent memory. And so I don't know what it was, but it seemed as if when Butch Davis took over North Carolina, the attitude towards Miami from a North Carolina perspective changed. It went from thinking that we can't beat Miami to not only can we beat Miami, we're going to embarrass Miami. Anytime we're going to embarrass Miami. So Butch Davis was 3-1 against us in his 4-year tenure at North Carolina. That 2010 season, which is the year that we did beat them, I believe we beat them 33-10. That was going to be the year that a lot of people were giving North Carolina a lot of dark horse national championship love because of the amount of talent that Butch Davis had amassed on that particular roster in that short period of time. I believe at the conclusion of the season, they had 14 guys invited to the NFL Combine. Obviously, again, like I say, some of those guys, a lot of those guys ended up getting suspended because of the situation with the yacht. One of those players being Marvin Austin. Robert Quinn was on that team. Hakeem Nicks was on that team. They had a lot of talent on that team, and I felt like that if they had been full strength, they would have beat LSU. And 2010, so the 2010 national championship game was Alabama versus Texas. So it would have been real interesting to see if that UNC team was full strength, would they have been able to play for the national championship that year. That was a very, very good team. Butch gets fired, gets railroaded. Then they bring in Larry Fedora. And this is when the disrespect went to another level. This is when you start getting this. My hands are too big. This is when you start getting this. This is when you see Ryan Shazier scoring. Pause if you ain't talking Miami, you're a hater. Hey, man. Chill out. This is when we start getting the disrespect from Ryan Switzer, not Shazier. Ryan Switzer. That's when we start getting the disrespect from them. And during the Larry Fedora era, they beat us 59-21 one particular year. And that was the year they ended up going to play Baylor in whatever bowl game that was. But that's when Baylor had the quarterbacks hurt. But I think Baylor ran for like 700-something yards. They ran like Wildcat the entire game. So then you fast forward to 2020. They break a record on us running the ball. So North Carolina looks to embarrass the University of Miami as anytime they can. So when we think about our game against Georgia Tech, it being a trap game, North Carolina played in the trap game. The difference is North Carolina played their best game in a trap game against a better opponent. And so I know some fans are like, well, man, we're going to take that loss on the chin. We're going to go to Chapel Hill, and we're going to dominate. North Carolina don't bow down to us. This is going to be a disrespectful game. I think this is going to be 2020 type of feel. That's how North Carolina's going to come into the game. We got to match that. We got to match that energy. Drake May just played his best game of the season. He's heating up. We got to be ready for that. Mac Brown, I mean, just think about this for a second, right? It's only 2 ACC teams that can lay claim to that they had a freshman class enroll at a school and not lose to the University of Miami. Guess who those two schools are? Florida State and North Carolina. North Carolina had a freshman class. Sam Howell, freshman, his class came in. They won his freshman year, his sophomore year, his junior year, and then whoever was left over from that class, they just beat us last year with Drake May. They have not lost to a University of Miami team. And some of y'all are thinking that they've beaten us 4 times in a row. Now, I'm not I'm not thinking that for, that we're just gonna go up there and lay down and they just gonna run all over. So I'm not looking at this saying, oh man, this is gonna be Clemson of 2015, 58-0. No, I'm not saying it. But North Carolina has a habit of kicking us when we're down. That's what they do. And the following week we got Clemson. So we in a short period of time, we gotta shake this loss off, play at an elite level Saturday, and then turn around and play at that same elite level again. Can we do it? That's the big question. Mentally, can Tyler do it? Because we all saw the image on the sideline when he got his chin in his chest, and X say, man, pick your doggone head up, man. What you doing? Pick your head up. So mentally, Tyler, are you ready to come back? Because you got pressure on you because you played UNC twice, and we've been right there for the win, and you throw an interception. Threw for almost 500 yards last year, and when we needed it most, they picked it off. So you think UNC is afraid of Tyler Van Dyke? They're not. They're not. So, with that being said, as I wrap this up, pause. I expect for this to be a great game. I expect for us, if we're the team that people have preached that we were the entire offseason, that things are different, Mario got the low achievers out of there, then we should go into that building with the same intensity and the same focus that we had against Texas A&M. Because if we don't, it's going to get ugly. And UNC is the team that wants it to get ugly. UNC wants a 59-21. UNC wants a, what was it, 66? That's what they want. They would love nothing more than to do that to the University of Miami. And guess who's next? The second most disrespectful program. Remember Dabo cut the turnover chain up? He wants to embarrass the University of Miami. So we ain't got time to coddle. I was listening to something, shout out to Caneville Streeter and X. They were talking today, and they was talking about how D'Eriq King was there for Tyler Van Dyke that year, was helping him coach on the sideline. And since D'Eriq King's gone, Tyler, he can't get back in that mode. Bruh, I ain't trying to hear that. I promise I ain't trying to hear that. Because if you telling me that you need D'Eriq King on the sideline to perform at this particular level, Mario, you might well go and put Emory Williams out there and just, hey, do that. Because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear none of that. So I'm so excited about this UNC game because I know some fans will say, oh, well, look what we did to Texas A&M. What we did to Texas A&M is, that's in the past. That was the second game of the season. Teams were feeling things out because one or two things are going to be accurate after this game. Because I know some people, Texas A&M is better than what, people said, and we have to make sure they keep winning because that makes our strength of schedule look better. One or two things is going to happen. The dynamic in 2 to 3 weeks can change so quickly from saying that Miami had a great win against Texas A&M to Texas A&M just had a bad night, and unfortunately, their quarterback is hurt. That can be the dynamic in the next 2 or 3 weeks if we go out here and don't handle business. But if we do go out here and handle business, then people will know the University of Miami is real. Simple as that. So, I'm excited. Coach Cristobal knows what he got to do. Because, in my opinion, UNC has surpassed Virginia Tech as our second biggest rival in the ACC. And they are very disrespectful. They are at home. They are, like I said, they look to embarrass us. And this couldn't have played out any better for them. This couldn't have played out any better for them. Because one thing we know about Tyler Van Dyke, when things are going good, he's great. If things are not going good, bruh, Mack Brown is not going to do like Mario did against Bethune-Cookman and hand the ball off. No. Drake May is trying to surpass Caleb Williams as the first pick in the draft. If he can go out there and get Drake May to throw 8 touchdowns, you damn well know he gonna tell Drake May to light it up. Light them up. Light them up. So I think after some people get over this loss and stuff like this and realize that UNC has they coming to embarrass us, I think we'll get to the realization, because I think some people are just kind of brushing this off, because before the Georgia Tech game, it was a whole lot of, oh, we only worried about Florida State. What you mean you only worried about Florida State? We done lost to UNC 4 years in a row. And you talking about, oh, well, only Florida State. Man, like Coach Hayes, slap one of you motherfuckers. But anyway, man, that's it, man. I'm out. I'm about to get some sleep. I gotta get up early. Like, share, subscribe, and we better be ready, because you know damn well UNC gonna be ready. But y'all on the clock, UNC. I'm out.